Hello, this video is not sponsored. I bought this Pantasy Gumball machine set for $80 US on Amazon. Funny thing is, I've not been able to find a single source for the correct number of parts in this. I've seen anything from lower 800s to lower 900s. So it's something in that range, approximately 900 pieces. And just to give you a little bit of context of the size of this is actually the size of many Gumball machines. And in fact, I will spoil one major feature of it right now. This will work as an actual gumball machine. They've tested it with, they said, from 13 to 25 millimeter diameter actual gumballs. If you do the 13, the smallest ones, you might get doubles coming out at one time, but it will handle up to the 25. So it actually works. And it comes with 24 balls that have various things in them. I actually didn't fill up every single one of those right now, and I'll explain that later, but I want you to get a general idea for the whole thing. And it does have these very specialized globe half pieces. I'd actually very much like to see this company use these exact pieces for a fish bowl. You know, just have a little brick-built base, like a little simulated sea floor, and then put some brick-built fish in there, maybe a little bit of sea grass and stuff. It could really be used well for that. I mean, this is sizable. There's a lot of space to build up inside of there. Now, this whole entire set does have quite a number of the metallic style coated or lacquered, painted pieces with the nice shine to it. You would think that this would be filled from the top, but it's not. It's filled from underneath. So what you need to do is turn it upside down and then let this go ahead and drop off. So that's the main opening that you're going to use right there. And we'll take a look at each of those things that's in there because they've got some special little miniature builds. Coming around to the front, most of this front panel is done with the nice style of metallic coated or painted parts, with the exception of just these bars here on the side and the Technic connectors inside of here with the axles. Everything else is pretty much coated, so you get that nice metallic sheen. And some of those pieces right there are also printed. So if you take a look, if I can get that, yeah, there we go. When the light hits it just right, it has just a very subtle gray print on it with a really nice filigree texture. It's kind of art deco, or maybe pre-art deco style actually. And they also give you these two coins, which are printed in the same sort of style. Sorry about that. There we go. Get you focused. There we go. And then you can kind of see what, it's just giving you a 4-leaf clover design, and it's referencing Pantasy brick there. That's it. But, nice little detail on that. And that's to put into this coin slot. Now, we'll say that the coin slot is probably the weakest thing on the entire build, because the idea is you put this in and it's going to stay. But that time it came out. And yes, this is a little wonky right here. Don't worry. There's a reason for that. I'll explain that soon. But sometimes it'll get stuck. Okay, so that actually is exactly what's supposed to happen, but it just doesn't always happen that way. It's supposed to go in and then stay. Sometimes it comes straight through, which I guess that would happen on actual gumball machines sometimes if something didn't go wrong, didn't go right, but I don't think that's the intent here. I think that's just a minor malfunction. What's far more important is that this works. So, does it? There you go. Yes, it does. I'll go ahead and leave this out for the moment. Sorry about the focus I'm having trouble with here. Let's do it again without cutting. It's loading up another one. There we go. And one comes out at a time. And I'll show you each of these and what the contents look like. And there it goes. Loading up another one, moving it around, and oh, I think I got a double coming out. Yep, I got a double. It's my first time actually having that happen. So we got two coming out, and there goes another one. Yeah, so that's how it works. And every once in a while, you'll need to kind of shake this, because if the balls are in just the right kind of orientation, they'll start to stick to each other just a little bit. So you just got to shake it to make them fall down. But that's pretty much how things go here. And again, it will actually work with gumballs. I've seen it demonstrated. I personally don't have any gumballs on me, though. I don't think I've ever had a gumball in my entire life. So sorry, I don't have anything else to demonstrate there. But this I have played with quite a bit, and it usually works. Like I said, I just got that double for the very first time. The worst thing that will happen usually in my experimenting with it is that things will just get stuck around the edges, and you'll basically go blank for a minute. You'll go empty, and you just need to shake it to get them go back down in there. And that time I actually got one of my coins back. But okay, now you see this thing, how loose this is. What's going on with that? That looks like a major design issue. And truth be told, they could have made this have like a clip, a single clip to hold it in rather than leaving it loose. But here's the deal. There's a toy shop inside of this. It doesn't come with any figures, at least not today, not for the US, because there is a trademark on the figure design. Maybe in the future they will start applying their new unique figures to other sets in their line. But this is figure scaled for sure, and it's just a little toy store. That's a print. This is hidden inside. They did not need to do a print for that, but this is a nice little thing, and you see that the coins are supposed to get caught right here. So what happens is if you push the coin through a little bit too fast or a little bit too hard, it goes past all this and then goes down to where the gumballs themselves or the actual toys come out. But this is a nice thing, it's just a nice little side surprise. Like I said, it could have had just a clip back here to hold it in a little bit more securely rather than being completely loose. And with this out, let me go ahead and show you what the inside of this looks like from here. Really simple. Sorry about the focus again. Not a whole lot to see. There's more to see if you turn this over and you want to look at the mechanism. So there is the mechanism. It's a drum system with just openings of different sizes, and that's basically where it will load one. Sorry about this. I'm having a little trouble with my angles and everything. It'll load one in, and then these are just going to kind of upset the ones that remain in the fishbowl, and you have just a little thing on the side to give you that satisfying extra bit of friction as it goes past there. Yeah, and it'll just do that. So it loads one up, and that's why if you have the smaller gumballs, the real ones, you might get two to actually fit in there, and then it'll just go through and cycle. So it's pretty simple how it's done, but it is pretty effective. And they really didn't need to do these parts in the gold and silver color either. I think they spent too much money on that. I think they could have brought the budget down a little bit if they had not done that. Now, the rest of the base, I think, is fine. It's simple. It's much heavier than it appears. There is more gold down here, more silver out here as well. You can see one issue with part consistency, though. Unfortunately, those two golds don't match. And it's not so much the color or even the value, the brightness, it's the finish on it. So this is giving you much more of a direct reflection. It's just a little bit less satin or less matte. And as you go around, you can see a little bit of variation there, which is unfortunate. Most of these are pretty consistent, if not very consistent, but I didn't want to hide this away from you. So you can see that this one right here is just a little bit too bright relative to the other. So not 100% accuracy and consistency with, I'm betting it's just from different batches. So there are 24 of these ball things in here. They can be opened up. They're going to go all over the place. Some of them are going to fall on my floor and everything. But I wanted you to see another thing that's going on right now. Half of these don't have anything in them. And that's because what's supposed to be in them are little fortunes. They give you this pack of fortunes. And just read that first one. Okay, I'm never going to open this pack. I'm never going to look at the rest because these are clearly just the worst, lamest, most bleh. Might as well be written by AI, traditional fortune cookie kind of fortune. So yeah, I didn't even bother with those, but put your own things in here is what I would recommend. Let me go ahead and get all of these open now so you can see what's inside. I'll just give you a quick look at a single one, how that does open up. Where are my fingernails at? Where are my fingernails at? Give it a little squeeze. Nope. Yeah, there we go. Squeeze. There we go. All right. So this one's like a little gingerbread house. Yeah, definitely just squeeze these to open them. I was worried about doing damage, but it's not ABS plastic. It's not a fragile plastic. So just squeeze them to open them. Very consistent that way. Right, so again, the gingerbread house, you have a full little treats and tea set here, a small wintry This is like an advent calendar, right? It's a small little wintry evergreen tree. You've got a heart gem inside of a bell there. What do you call it? Bell dome inside of a glass dome thing. I forget the proper term for this. You've got a tank, the penguin, a locomotive over here, heart. You have to imagine what's inside of there because there's nothing to open up. I think this is just a lamp. I don't know if is it a lamp or is it supposed to represent a mixer? It doesn't have the mixing bowl. I think it's just a lamp. Grandfather clock is nice as a print as well. The record player represents the actually, this should be opened up. Yeah, that should be like that. Record player or gramophone represents the actual Pantasy set that they've done previously. And then over here, you have a little toy plane. If I were you, I would be asking if a minifigure would fit into one of these capsules because they do look a little bit small for that purpose. And I have not actually tested this, so you're seeing me test it live for the first time ever, trying to put just a totally random minifigure in there. And it's a bit of a tight squeeze, but it does fit. The parts do fit. At least with just a basic one. Like I said, it's a tight squeeze. So if you want to put something that has accessories in there, maybe you can fit some small accessories, but bigger ones are going to be tough. Big helmet's going to be tough. And if you have any weapons or large accessories, that's going to be tough. So basic figures, yes. Actually, I think even you might even have a little bit of trouble with long hair, you know? So it is limited. It does work to a certain extent, but with limitations. But you could potentially put a bunch of these in there. It's not going to work with the Pantasy figures though, the new ones, the exclusive ones that have the large heads. You're not going to be able to put all that in there. So you're going to be probably putting the heads and hair in one, and then the body and legs in another, and just split them up like that. And sometimes 2 in a row, you won't be getting everything that you need to build a minifig. So just keep that in mind. Of course, another thing you could do is just have the parts for each of these in there and either let somebody try to figure out what's made from those parts or just have the instructions available. You know, if you're going to have a little family event or something like that, just have the instructions available that shows you how to put them together. But yeah, that's pretty much it for features. Again, the price I paid was $80 US, and it comes with approximately 900 pieces. Sorry, I don't have a good number for that because I've seen official and semi-official sources contradicting each other on that. I forgot to mention the height of it if you want to compare it to anything else. It is approximately 36 centimeters or 14.5 inches. So it's large and it's heavy. There's a lot that goes into the base. The Pantasy uses Go Bricks. That's their part manufacturer, and Go Bricks parts tend to be pretty solid. You know, they tend to have a good amount of plastic per part. They haven't fully optimized them out to be as cheap as possible, so it feels like you're getting something there. And on display, it's nice and sturdy. It's not wobbly. It doesn't feel like a flimsy thing. It feels like a nice little solid plastic collectible with some nice details that you wouldn't necessarily expect. It is disappointing, this little difference in the gold, especially for this one part right here. And yeah, I don't want to hide from that. I want part quality to be good across the board. And this is lacking just slightly. The reds, I was pretty much fine with. I don't see any real issue with that. The dome parts came individually wrapped separately, so I didn't have to worry about any issues with those being scuffed up, although I did end up with a scuff here that might have been my own personal fault, because again, these were in just a plastic bag. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this. It's not perfect though. This should have been better secured, and it would feel a lot better if the coin mechanism was more consistent, if it caught the coins more consistently, where it wouldn't go through like that. Worked out fine, but if I put it in too slowly, yeah, it's kind of stuck right there at the edge. Put it in too fast, it's going to go all the way through. I wasn't able to hit it there. It's going to go all the way through. The fact that it'll actually work with gumballs, I think adds a lot of value to it. You know, it doesn't have to be used with brick-based system stuff. It'll also work with other gacha style balls as long as they're perfectly round, don't have anything to catch the edges. Again, between 13 and 25 millimeters. 25 millimeters is 1 inch exactly, or almost exactly in diameter. I think the price here feels a little bit high for the amount of plastic that I'm looking at, but I do recognize that these are large pieces and all those painted pieces, cost a little extra to make, but still, yeah, $80 feels like it's pushing it a bit. I would expect this to be more like 60, honestly, especially from a smaller, less known brand, but it's a reputable brand. They've been around for a while now. This is not one of their newest sets. And I feel like I can trust them in general to do good things. They seem to be improving their designs over time. I haven't seen them steal any designs like a lot of the smaller manufacturers and vendors tend to do, picking up fan designs and then not giving credit. These folks seem to do things right from a business perspective. But yeah, just this one, I think the value isn't quite as good as on some of their other sets. And the quality also just wasn't perfect on it, as well as the design. Like this is just, maybe I'm just nitpicking too much on that, but it does bug me because when I move it around, it starts to, I can see the parts just showing up to the side. But this here is good. And then these are weak, but meh. Not a big deal. I hope that I've covered this fairly and given you enough information to come to your own conclusions. If you are interested in purchasing from something from Pantasy, not necessarily this, but anything, if they sell it on Amazon, please consider using one of my affiliate links down in the video description, but absolutely no pressure there. It's just a thing that can help me at no cost to you and minimal additional effort of clicking one thing. It can help me to get more sets to review for this channel. So thank you in advance for any kind of support, but most importantly, thank you just for making it here. And I do hope that I brought you some value. Bye for now.